Hello? Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning. I got an email saying Grace was waiting, so. Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Can everyone see my shared screen? Okay,
Yeah, I can see it.
good. I think we'll wait until a minute or two after 9 just to give everyone a chance to log on.
Sarah, I want you to know that I'm hydrating. I have my hydration right here. It just happens to be hot and poured over coffee beans. So.
Oh, hey, that is a good way to hydrate. I always have like 4 different cups, all different kinds of, depending on what I'm feeling, but.
Well, I consider this is still water. It's just hot and over beans, so you know.
Yeah, and it's brown.
Are you getting good feedback about your message out to locations to be scheduling things?
Yes.
Good.
What I did was I purchased the like premium Zoom host. So then what we originally thought, maybe people would come into the same room, but trying to keep people not sitting in the same seat and table. We'll just be sending out a link so people can log in from their phone or their computer, which I think will work.
Right, good.
So, and then Chase and I can coach different locations at the same time using that to kind of double up.
Great.
So it should work just fine. Well, we'll wait one more minute and then I will get started so we can stay on track. Looks like we have Dawn and Susan and Dan, Mark, Grace. It's good to see everyone instead of just hearing people's voices. Well, I'm glad. I know Susan and I had talked about setting up an actual lunch and learn before all of this happened, about inflammation and container gardens and that type of thing. So I'm glad we were able to set something up for this morning. If I don't know.
Sarah, you might have to mute some of them.
Yeah, that's what, there we go. Okay. So what I will do is I'm going to kind of talk about a variety of topics and then be keeping note if you have any questions. I don't know if we'll have a ton of time at the end because we are doing a 30-minute kind of connect this morning, but keep note of any questions that you may have. And I'm going to put, I know most of you have my email, but I'll put my email at the end of the presentation so you can feel free to email questions or comments, when we're done, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can sometime this week. So we'll get started. Thank you everyone for attending our first kind of virtual wellness connect this morning. Lots of requests from all work sites that we are connecting with about, specifically immunity and how to keep your immune system up during this time, how to re-energize when a lot of us are, maybe going out of the office or out of our home less due to COVID-19. So the 4 topics that I'm going to touch on are on the screen here: mindfulness, energy, immunity, and nutrition. And they all, much like health and well-being in general, they all connect or intertwine in some way. So, if we touch on one, it typically connects with another. So my purpose today is to bring you some tools, resources, ideas, and inspiration, dealing with all of these different topics. And I hope you can leave with at least 1 or 2 tidbits or ideas on what you can do or, kind of play around with as far as mindfulness, energy, immunity, and nutrition. So first off, I want to talk about mindfulness. Now, I know this has been, it's kind of a trendy word over the past few years. Mindfulness, meditation has taken off as far as, focusing on our mental and our emotional well-being. So I highlighted and underlined specific words in the definition of mindfulness that I want you to keep in mind when we think about mindfulness. So it is a mental state achieved by focusing on your awareness in the present moment. So I think a lot of times we dwell on the past or we are anxious about the future, but mindfulness is really focusing on being present in the moment. The next part of the definition, I should have underlined the word calmly, because mindfulness is a state of being calm. And it's, with stress and anxiety heightened during this time, it can be hard to feel that sense of calmness. But acknowledging and accepting are verbs that are very important in this definition. And then the 3 words that I highlighted in red would be, accepting your feelings, thoughts, and also how your body physically feels. So if we can, become more aware of our thoughts, emotions, and how our body feels, we are more able to be mindful throughout the day. So the other 3 words I want you to also be aware of are intention, attention, and attitude. So when we're being mindful, we want to raise awareness and be intentional about our mindfulness practice, whether that is sitting in silence, whether that is prayer or meditation, but being intentional with our time. We want to pay attention to our surroundings, to our feelings and our thoughts. And then attitude is super important. So when we are practicing a mindfulness technique or just trying to be more aware of our surroundings, we hope that in a mindfulness practice, our attitude changes, but we also want to have a good attitude in the present moment. So that is super important. So that's kind of a definition of mindfulness, and I will send this whole PowerPoint to Susan afterwards so she can send it out in case you want to, just not have to take notes throughout this whole presentation, but I will send this out afterwards. So there are many mindfulness techniques, but I wanted to highlight a few that I like to touch on when I'm health coaching and that I personally practice because I feel it is, a lot of these things are very important. So with each of these, you want to keep in mind the intention, the attention, and the attitude with each technique. So I think it's super important to, practice gratitude, think of things that make you happy or bring you joy each day. So that could be, sitting down each morning or evening and jotting down a few things, that you were grateful for that day. It could be as simple as drinking your cup of coffee, but I think intentionally focusing and acknowledging those things just make us happier people. Having a morning routine, very important. I know for me, if I wake up late and I'm rushing out the door, my morning routine is already rushed, and I feel like the rest of the day is either rushed or things don't go as planned. So having a morning routine, very important. Eating mindfully. When I worked at the YMCA, I actually taught a class on mindful eating, and we took different foods and we used each of our senses to spend 5 minutes, which seems like an eternity, with each food, and really were mindful when we were touching it, smelling it, eating it, and it just brings a heightened awareness to what you're eating. A lot of times we eat in the car or while we're sitting at our desk, and we may not even think about what we're eating, or we eat too quickly. So mindfully eating can be very important as well. Another exercise or mindfulness technique is breathing. So when we are going about our normal day, we do a lot of chest breathing, which is shallow breathing, and it's very important for our blood pressure, getting oxygen to our brain and throughout our body, and helping to re-energize ourselves by doing deep breathing. So this quick breathing exercise, you can do it in the car, while you're laying in bed. I always suggest a time that you typically, unless your kids are bothering you, or maybe a pet, in the bathroom may seem a little bit silly, but that's a time where you can get all to yourself and you can do this breathing exercise. So how you do it, it's easy because it's only three numbers to remember, but you're going to count to 3 as you breathe in through your nose. You're going to hold your breath at the top for a count of 5, and you're going to breathe out as you count to 7. So this regulates your heart rate, blood pressure, and it helps with blood flow and circulation throughout your body. Walks in nature, walking on a treadmill is great, but if you can get outside and observe nature, whether it's animals or the trees or the clouds in the sky, it just connects us and makes us feel more grounded to the earth that we're living on. So walks in nature, even in the winter, we can do it if we dress in the correct or appropriate clothing. Another mindfulness technique, which I bet most of us haven't done since maybe we were in elementary school, but focusing on each sense specifically. So if you're sitting, you want to focus on what you're smelling, what you're feeling, what you're seeing, and that again can bring an awareness to our surroundings and just make us more mindful of where we're at in the present moment, which kind of connects with setting a timer. Maybe it's for 30 seconds, maybe it's for 2 minutes, and just simply being. You can close your eyes, you can go to your happy place. Maybe it's a vacation that you wish you were on right now, but closing your eyes and just simply being. We don't do that enough. Another technique is practicing willing hands. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this practice, but it's, in a lot of yoga practices, you may have seen on social media, or if you've been to a yoga class, you a lot of times sit cross-legged with your hands on your knees and your palms are up, and that is called willing hands. So it really, lets us kind of take in and realize that we are in the present moment, and it's a relaxing way to sit. You relax your fingers, your hands, your wrists, and it's a good technique to practice as well. And then I always say you want to make sure you're doing something every day that brings you joy. And Margaret, that could be your coffee. If that brings you joy and you do that every day, it was a win. But I think acknowledging the fact that it brings you joy is very important. This is something that when I send this presentation to Susan, you can maybe take note of, but I wanted to just throw up some resources that can be helpful. I know not everyone is into using apps on their phone. Some people like listening to podcasts or audiobooks. Some people like reading. So I threw up different means of resources for all of you. Different apps that have great breathing or mindfulness techniques or meditations are there as well. And then some great websites and podcasts that are awesome resources for maybe if you're stuck or you just want to read something uplifting. Those websites are great. So, mindfulness. The next topic is energy. So energy is very much a chain reaction. We can spiral into low energy with different, choices that we decide to make, or on the other hand, we can spiral into a chain reaction of positive or good energy. Now, most of us know that just like a car battery, your car has to run to recharge. We need to create energy or expend energy to gain energy. So one of our clients is a trucking company, and I always use this example when I talk about energy. If we are sitting in the car, and if you've gone on a road trip, we know that our energy can become depleted because we're not using any energy. Our eyes and our brains are functioning to, navigate through traffic, but our bodies are at a standstill. So creating energy to have energy. So that means that we need to move our bodies. If any of you have taken a walk, during the workday, we know that most of the time we come back and we feel re-energized, higher sense of energy. Our focus and our productivity tends to be higher as well. So if you can get up and move during the workday, instead of grabbing for maybe a snack that your body thinks it needs for energy, I would say go for it. The next thing is water. And the reason why I typed it so many times on the screen is because it is so important. Water is one of the best things that you can put into your body. I know a lot of my coaching clients ask about, well, what if I add Crystal Light or Mio or all of those water enhancers to their water? It's great, but plain water is what your body craves and needs to function. So a lot of times when we are low on energy, it's a sign our body is telling us that we are dehydrated. So everyone, if you have water next to you, take a drink right now. Hydrating early in the day, you don't necessarily want to be chugging water at 9 o'clock at night. We all know what that means for the middle of the night. So if you can hydrate as much as you can early in the day, that is definitely a benefit. If you can infuse your water with maybe some herbs or some fruits or vegetables, that is a natural way of flavoring it as well.
Sarah, can I ask a question quick?
Yeah.
My husband is working on trying to hydrate more because he's not good at it. And one of the things that he really loves, like celery, he really loves raw cucumbers, some of those types of foods that are high in water. Can that count toward this as well?
Very good question. So Margaret asked if fruits and vegetables count as part of your hydration throughout the day. Yes. So the only thing that is challenging is it's hard to say how much you're getting through the fruits and vegetables. But if you are eating a good amount of fruits and vegetables, specifically cucumbers, zucchini, watermelon, celery, any fruit or vegetable is going to have some source of natural water in it. So yes, a great way. And then if you're adding that to your water, it's kind of a double win. So good question. Starting your day with foods that give you long-lasting energy. So as many of you know, carbohydrates are a quick source of energy. Carbs are what our bodies burn first. So if all we're eating is a bowl of cereal, not all cereals are bad, but they are high in carbohydrates. But if all we're eating is maybe a donut from the gas station or a granola bar, that is what our body is going to burn off first. And then you may notice maybe an hour or two after you hit that slump or that energy low. So fat and fiber, or fat and protein as well, are long-lasting sources of energy. And we will talk about that when we get to the nutrition section. But if you can start your day with foods that will keep you energized and feeling fuller for longer, you won't hit that low and then maybe want to grab for a snack. Another piece of energy advice is melatonin. We're talking the natural kind. I always say talk with your doctor about sleep aids or supplements, but natural forms of melatonin I have written on the screen. Tart cherries or cherry juice is the #1 source of natural melatonin. Consuming natural sources of melatonin 2 to 3 hours before bedtime is a good thing to remember when we're eating, pistachios, salmon, warm milk. I know, when we think about babies having warm milk before a nap or before they sleep, because it has a natural form of melatonin in it. So those are some good sources. I know people that I've talked to before, they say, well, I snack on pistachios, in the morning or in the afternoon, and, I feel kind of tired later on. And it's because it is a good snack. It has some fiber and some protein, but it does have a natural source of melatonin, which can make you sleepy. So energy. Now let's talk immunity. And I did say a lot of these subjects overlap. So immunity, exercise, we all know it's very important for, just strengthening our bones and our muscles and our heart and our lungs. All of those things are very important for keeping your body immune. I always say your body's not going to be able to, fight off everything. And your body's not going to become immune to all things, disease or that type of thing. But exercise, very important when it comes to strengthening our bodies. Eating the rainbow. So if you just think about what you ate yesterday, think about the colors of the foods that you ate. A lot of times fast food restaurants or carbs or starchy foods are typically brown, white, tan. We have a lot of those low, less colorful foods, but eating the rainbow is very important because colorful foods, and we're not talking like Skittles or Fruity Pebbles, but those colorful foods are dense in nutrients. So as you see below in the slide, all of those foods that I have typed out that are high in vitamins are very vibrant, colorful foods. Sleep, schedule, routine, also important. Our bodies need to recharge and rejuvenate, and sleep is when we get to do that. So adults, unfortunately, we do need around 7+ hours of sleep. Not always possible or doable, but that is the amount of time that our bodies need to re-energize and kind of heal throughout the night to be ready for the next day. Fresh air and sunshine, we get vitamin D from the sun, so it is important to get outside. So I know some of us don't necessarily have windows in our offices or in every room of the house, but that's why getting out in nature and getting outside is very important. The last piece kind of ties in with nutrition, which is the last section, but those vitamins are very important to keeping our immune system up. So vitamin A is found in those different foods. It helps with the health of your intestines and your respiratory system. So all very important. Vitamin C, which is, we typically associate that with orange juice or oranges, but it is also found in strawberries, red bell pepper, and kiwi. So that is a fun fact. But vitamin C helps to stimulate the formation of antibodies, which do help to fight off different disease and things like that. Last would be vitamin E, which promotes the neutralization of free radicals that are working as antioxidants in the body. So you've heard antioxidants are important for immune health and for anti-inflammation. So your oils, your nuts, seeds, and avocados, which you may see a theme with that, they're all sources of healthy fats, are found in, or vitamin E is found in all of those as well. Zinc, also important for immune health, which is found in all of those foods, beans, seeds, nuts, really your poultry and your seafood as well. And then raw honey and garlic. So if you're adding those to your stir fries or your omelets, or putting raw honey on your yogurt or oatmeal, very good for immune health, specifically raw honey. So now tying that into nutrition, I know Susan had mentioned, trying to think of things that if you're on the go, or maybe on a road trip or traveling for work, what things can you bring with you or can you quickly grab that will be a healthier option? My motto for food is you want to eat foods that bless your body. So if you are eating a huge bowl of ice cream, it may bless you or bless your body for a short time, but you may feel the repercussions of it later. So eating foods that bless your body is very important. And that's where the mindfulness techniques come in, because if we're eating on the go and we're not paying attention to what we're feeding our bodies, it's easy to, just eat the quick and easy thing, and that may not be giving our bodies the nutrition that it needs. So I broke it down into the macronutrients. Some of you may have heard people counting macros, but I wrote those macros out on the screen and kind of gave you some foods that go into each of those categories. So we have your fats, your proteins, and your complex carbs, which are different than simple carbs. So I will send this over so you don't have to write down all of these foods, but you may want to, try to get creative when it comes to figuring out how your meals can incorporate each of those categories, because it's important to have, that well-balanced diet. If you don't leave with anything today besides this one phrase, I want you to write this down. So when we think about fueling our bodies, we want to eat foods and nutrients to fuel our bodies for the activities that we are going to do. So if you're going to run a marathon, you need to eat a lot different foods than if you are going on an 8-hour road trip and sitting in the car. So that is why planning ahead is very important. So if you think about your day tomorrow, what does that look like? Do you have meetings back to back? Are you working out after work? Are you, think about what activities you're going to be doing, and you want to make sure you're eating or fueling your body for those specific activities. So if you're going to be less active tomorrow, maybe you don't need 4 or 5 large meals throughout the day. Maybe you eat a little bit less. But I think it's important to think about the activities you're going to be doing and fueling your body with the appropriate nutrients and foods for that. I want to end with some ideas. So I took all of those foods in the different categories, foods with different vitamins to help your immunity, and I just gave some ideas of meals or snacks that kind of hit on all different categories that we talked about today. So for a simple snack, you have your carrots, your red bell peppers, and hummus or guacamole. So that's hitting on some of your vitamins, your healthy fats, and your proteins. The next one, just an example, roasted sweet potato with turmeric, which is good for anti-inflammation. Same with cinnamon, and then honey and pumpkin seeds on top. So kind of a combination of all of those foods. We have a spinach salad with avocado and strawberries. Maybe you use some olive oil and lemon juice as a dressing. We have broccoli, bell peppers, and shrimp sauteed in avocado oil, maybe for like a stir fry vibe. And then the last one is really hitting it with the immune boosting foods. We have your kiwi and an orange salad with honey and lime dressing. So just some ideas, eating the rainbow, trying to eat a variety of colors and nutrients throughout the day, and just being more mindful with what you're eating and what you're doing throughout the day and how that affects your energy afterwards. So with that, I think we're staying right on time. So I did leave my email if you want to send me any questions or would like additional resources about any topic or specific area that I touched on today, feel free to send those to me. But anything urgent, or if you have any specific questions in the last minute or two, feel free to shout out. All right, well, if anyone did have a question, I didn't hear it because everyone is on mute, but feel free to send those my way. I'd be happy to help in any way that I can. But I do feel like I really hope you got something out of those slides today, a variety of topics, in a short amount of time, but I hope that you got something out of it. So feel free to reach out if you think of anything, and Chase and I will be in contact with everyone at some point for their coaching in the next few months.
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you all for joining.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.